Shimmy, shimmy up, shimmy up, shimmy up. Hey, ho. Good night, viewers. Welcome to Let Her Finish podcast. How is everybody tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yes.
You?
Good. Sorry, we had a joke before the cameras were rolling. Anyways, today I want to jump into a very, it could be taboo, but it's something very natural for women. Feminine hygiene, feminine products. There's some latest products on the market that I want to touch on, and it's called a menstrual cup. So I don't know if y'all aware of it or have heard about it.
I am aware of it. I have not used it myself.
Yeah, same.
So,
Same.
I know what I did to it.
So anyways, the reason why we brought up this topic is because I was introduced to a menstrual cup from a friend of mine. And she's very, how do you say it, very environmentally friendly. And because pads and tampons are being known to have a lot of toxic chemicals in them, like they bleach them, they put a lot of scents, fragrances in them. So
Not only that, it's like every month you're using, and you're using a lot.
Exactly.
Basically. So to cut down on waste as well. I guess, the menstrual
like
cup.
yeah, environmentally friendly. So she introduced me to the menstrual cup, and basically it's a cup, and you put it in your vagina, and it catches the blood, and and you can have it in for up to 6 to 8 hours, and after 6 to 8 hours, you take it out. The cup is filled with blood. It's pretty gross, not gonna lie. You pour it in the toilet. You wash it, then you put it back in.
You've actually used it?
Yeah. So I started. So the first time I tried it, I actually dropped the menstrual cup in the toilet. Wow. Okay, and I refused to take it out. So I flushed the toilet because I thought that it would float, but actually it went
Well, you thought it wasn't going to, like when the water went down, that it was just going to stay there?
I was like,
how quick you had to be to kind of...
I did not go in. I let it go. And then I stopped using
But the
it
thing
for a
is,
while.
it's really small though, right?
So it's
like-
yeah,
What are we
so
talking about?
So basically,
I can't envision it, because when I'm thinking of a cup, I'm like, okay, what's the size of this?
Most of them are like a bell size.
yeah, so it's like a bell size, like it's round like that. Yeah, and that's the thing. We have a misconception that we bleed a lot, and really and truly, really and truly, at the end of the day, let's say the cup is this big. Really and truly, the amount of blood that comes out after 8 hours is only maybe this much.
Really? I think it might differ from woman to woman.
But it also depends. It depends. It depends on the day, of course, and stuff like that.
But don't.
And I think you have different
sizes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But the cups are like, how you know you have the right cup? You put it up, you go walking around, you sit down. You know you have them also, you stand up and you feel like the whole floodgates open. What, you know, if you leaks, I mean, I would be afraid. I think I could only do that at home.
That was my main concern.
I think the one thing they said though is
But where would it leak?
it takes
Like
some
it
getting
would-
used to.
But
But
it would leak.
and
what?
Yeah. Sometimes if it gets too full, yes. So basically, it's supposed to like suction the inside of your vaginal walls. So it's like a suction. So they have like little holes at the top that make sure that. So if it's not in properly, of course it could leak.
Exactly.
So, but the thing is, like when you fold it up,
Sound like a dangerous game.
you fold it up. Yeah, I know. But like honestly, the more I've tried 2 different types of cups. One was a DIVA cup. I tried on one. I didn't like it.
Diva, what do you have? Bling?
No, it's just called DIVA cup. Pink, yeah. And then the other one was a lunette cup. So I stuck with the lunette cup just because I feel like it matches me and it fits better for me. So and I don't use, I still use like panty liners and stuff like that just because I'm very like nervous because I feel like it's gonna.
But how long have you been using it for now?
I think going on 2 months now, but it still takes practice. I'm fairly new, 2-3 months.
Best part of it is that you basically not paying for pads and tampons anymore. How much you think we'd have spent a year?
Oh my goodness.
Anyone try to
I'm
count it?
tired by them
And
things. I'm
tampons
tired.
are really expensive. Like,
I just buy the cheapest of everything.
I mean, no, it's
If it
not.
works for you.
Zero brand loyalty. I'm like, price.
Cheapest one. I need a quality though. You need to fit a certain way, feel a certain way, stick a certain way. Some of them cheap ones, they just don't stick properly.
Because when I was looking into the DIVA cup, the menstrual cup as well, there's like quiz. You could do a quiz
Oh,
online to
right.
see which
Right.
one works for you.
Like a BuzzFeed quiz? Which donut are you?
But you want to know
Because
something?
they have a lot of. I didn't
Yeah.
know it had so much. You know, I heard about the DIVA cup, but and then I didn't know.
Yeah,
it
there's
had,
a lot.
There's a lot of
There's
them
a
out in
lot.
the
I
market.
seen them in the store here.
No, they're not. Well, are they here?
I think I
don't
heard
think
that they were
so.
here. They had one at Le Grand Marché.
Oh, Carrefour.
But
R.I.P.
So basically what was funny initially was when I went on Amazon to order, there were 2 sizes. So pre-birth vaginas and post-birth.
Whoa, wait. Back
So
up.
I'm never having children.
Back up, hold up. What's that supposed to mean?
Well, I don't know. Apparently, one Model A and Model B. Model B is for women who have
but all
had
of them come like
children.
that, or is just the brand you bought?
Well, I don't know. I never looked into
Okay.
Lunette, but I know when I did it on Amazon, when I tried to order the DIVA cup, there were 2 model sizes. So, anyways, that was interesting. So you guys should try it out.
That's funny though when you sent me the article about the chemicals, because now I was never thinking of switching, because when I saw it, I was okay, that's not for me. I rather not. It seems too much of a behavioral change for me. I was like, no thanks. But I never considered the chemicals going into these tampons and the pads, and I'm like, damn, I should really like sit back, reflect, think about this.
That's why they also say like don't use anything with the fragrances and stuff. So fragrance.
I never knew that. Like seriously. So
But I also read that the bleaching is necessary.
Yeah.
In terms of, because they deal with cotton, they have to bleach it, they have to whiten it. So, but they have best use.
but
so
is there no brands that like
Brands that have like they have got organic and then natural and stuff like that.
There's
So you could look into that.
I transitioned from application tampons to non-applicator tampons. Just because even the plastic, even sometimes the plastic, and I know they're the cardboard ones, which is fine too, but the plastic ones, they're covered with scent. And, you know,
everything's trying to kill you nowadays?
and especially as a woman, you know, this is something that we can't stop. So can you make it a little bit more healthier for us?
Okay, not only that, I read that in different countries, they have, you know, they're taxed pretty high. So not in every country that feminine products are accessible to women. So, you know, some countries, they actually think about reducing the tax, or not tax it as high, or give it out free.
I mean,
and
a
those
lot
type
of
things.
countries are, I mean, women in many different countries are protesting for these items to be free. They should be something kind of like a center where it's like accessible for everyone, because I mean,
Those who cannot afford it, yeah, especially for those.
And I know in Scotland they rolled out a program where they were like offering it to a bunch of low-income neighborhoods and stuff like that, because this is, you know, these are items you shouldn't have to be thinking about, because it's like
It's a natural, it's something that you can't control at the end of the day.
But then people would say, okay, what about toilet paper and all of these things?
Oh, because they actually, I mean,
a big discussion after.
there's actually cloth menstrual pads also. That's also a thing.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I read there are panties now that you can wear, and they catch the blood and they don't get wet.
Really?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's an Indian product.
Yeah, I think so. It's very odd. Yeah, I don't know. But what I do want to jump in, when you guys were growing up, did you ever hear that tampons were very taboo growing up? Because for me, I always heard that like, oh, you shouldn't use a tampon.
I think some young people still believe that, like, oh my God, no, it's gonna hurt. Oh, it's
I
this
think that
or
was
that.
more of it. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't about a taboo, but it was like everyone knew that at first it was uncomfortable. So you're like, okay, why should I switch over to it if it's uncomfortable when I just, you know, stick with the pads? And so I think that was more of the things like, oh no, you shouldn't do it, it's uncomfortable.
But I've never really heard like, no, don't do it. And no.
Yeah, well, actually, you know, you hear that, but when you did it, it wasn't, you know, as bad as you thought it would have been. And then for some young people with doing certain activities after school, you have to do it. For example, if you have a dance class or if you have performances in pageants, that's when you really get introduced to these things, because you have to be walking around, whether it's bathing suit or leotard. So it's not, it's a little bridge to gap, but I guess the conversation is to make it a little normal for younger women to understand it's just something. It's just a phase. You gotta get over it, and sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and just soon everybody might have a menstrual cup.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they'll be talking about cups like 20 years from now. Like, oh, when are you using your cup?
What's your cup? What color is it?
Where did you get your cup?
Did you flush it down the toilet today?
So anyways, we were talking earlier, we just wanted to throw in something fun. We were talking earlier about what did you wish when you were young? Was there anything about your body that you wish, was different when you were growing up? Or were you completely accepted it? It wasn't like, oh, I wish I had bigger boobs, I wish I had a bigger butt or whatever?
Yeah, probably bigger boobs, probably.
Bigger boobs.
But now I'm good, I'm happy. And,
I don't want to speak for like all girls or something like that, but I'm pretty sure all of us wanted to change something about ourselves, and I'm not gonna blame media, but yeah, I'm gonna go there. Growing up, compared to like everyone, all my friends around me, I was like probably the less curvaceous one ever.
Voluptuous.
So yes, I struggled out with that like up until high school. I think even in like university, I was never like content with my body. I was like, I can fill out in certain places a little bit more, but I think something I love about the movement about women is that we talk more about body positivity, and then we're accepting our bodies. Exactly. And what I'm loving now is when I go on Instagram that I'm seeing like all body types that I would never really see before, and I like people embracing it. And then now I'm looking at this like it works both ways, because when I know for like sicker women, certain body roles that they don't like about themselves. But when I go on Instagram now, I like look at these women who are maybe sicker and might not like their bodies. I'm like, wow, she's like beautiful. Like, and that's amazing.
We were looking at a girl, she does yoga. She has like 260,000 followers on Instagram. And what they portray in the media, somebody who does yoga, tall, slim, but this girl, she has a beautiful body. Very voluptuous, but also like, she's flexible and not
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, right?
I think because I follow like.
Because I stumbled upon her this week or last week or so, and I was like, oh wow, like because usually when you see yoga, you see skinnier people and stuff like that. So I was like, wow, and she's actually doing the moves and stuff that.
I need to follow her so she could give me some motivation. Yes, definitely.
She's beautiful. I mean, and she's not. She has a very curvaceous body.
Yeah.
But
she got butt. She got.
What do you think that comes? Do you think from her confidence, that she's comfortable in herself? She's, it's not just about how you look, but it's what you. Yeah, exactly. If you feel that way, you kind of, portray it on the outside. Exactly. So.
That's but no, I mean, you made a valid point, Sabrina, and I feel like maybe too, because we know that these are things that the younger girls suffer from when growing up. It's a topic that they always wonder. I remember I used to dance since I was young, and we used to like stuff our leotards with like toilet paper because we wanted bigger boobs. So, but maybe if they taught girls to accept their bodies for what they are and learn to love themselves from a younger age, it'll make the transition a lot easier. Because then you're not comparing yourself to your neighbor and because that's detrimental too for the way how you think and the way how you go about life and the way how you view life.
I think now it's really difficult, more difficult than before, because we have social media, and I think in that case you're surrounding your parents and those older than you really have to step up then, because you have to instill this confidence in them from young.
So on the one hand, you can see yourself, so you can there's on the internet you can go to find anybody that looks at you. So if you're skinny and you're not as coverage, you could go on the internet and find persons like that. But you can also find people, or depending on what you're looking at, where you make you feel less about yourself. So it just depends on how you use the.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that says something more about the movement, because as much as I would like to think on Instagram, oh yeah, you know, there's body positivity, a lot of different shapes and sizes. I feel now more than ever, though, we've still become critical of appearance, because now I'm thinking, has a trend gone away where we're saying, okay, well, it's more okay to show your body, but is that because that's a trend now? Like
everybody's doing
now, because before in the 2090s, you know, it was skinny, very skinny, you know, not very much curves was in style, and then now I feel like that's like kind of changed, whereas a curvaceous woman is kind of like
desired.
Yeah,
But
because it's in the music
I
too.
feel like it's going towards more fitness as well too now, like more fit women and stuff are kind of taking over, you know, Instagram and stuff.
But like you said, it's in the music too. It's in the hip hop culture. It's in, you know, what is desirable. You know, so yeah. Over the time, it changes, and how do you kind of control your thoughts in a way to be okay with yourself and know your worth and you know, look at somebody else, appreciate them, but also appreciate yourself.
You have to get that at home. You know, this is why it's so important that, you know, parents are cognizant of this and know what kind of foundation they're setting, because you do not know through the eyes of your child what he or she is seeing out there and how they then reflect and see themselves. So it's also good to continuously have that conversation going forward about what they see, what they perceive, what they think is normal, and so forth.
So I remember last time I attended the Avenue Academy financial workshop, and we basically discussed the beginnings of getting into financial investments, specifically stocks. I enjoyed it because it's always something I wanted to get into, because I was like, I'm young, you know, gotta start investing now, something about compound interest. So I really enjoyed that a lot. And I know you shared an article recently about financial freedom versus financial success. And I think as I'm going to group us together as the same age category. Our age category, we're constantly looking for the financial freedom. So we're no longer satisfied with just working 9 to 5. We're always looking for, okay, well, how can we get rich fast?
Right.
But you
Or
know,
be comfortable, be comfortable, be able, so you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, the article, it talked about financial freedom versus financial success. And once, and it was an Instagram post of this lady, and she said once she tasted what financial freedom was, as in she started working from 9 to 5, building her company until her company started making money for herself, until she started having more time for herself, because that's really what it is. You want money to make money for you, right? You don't want to exert the energy. You want to be able to put in 2 hours a week versus 40 hours a week, like what we're doing now. And so basically the course was to inspire people or to promote investing, compound interest. And actually I was looking at a YouTube video from Tony Robbins. That's his name, Tony Robbins. Yes. Anyways, he said that he knew a guy that worked for UBS, and he made $14,000 a year. And it must have been $40,000 a year.
Okay.
And what changed his life, he said, was compound interest. So basically, he saved 40% of his salary, and his wife told him, "We cannot save 40% of your salary. That's a lot."
So every month he was saving 40% of his salary.
So the way how Tony Robbins explained it, he was like, the guy said, "Look, pretend like it's a tax that you have to pay. So if it's a tax that you have to pay, put it aside. And that way you don't think of it as like you don't think of it as so much of a struggle. You're like, I have to pay this.
My question is now, how long did he take? How long did it take him? Because, okay, fine, maybe he had some good interest rates.
Right.
If I have to do
whatever he saved, 40% of what he saved, he put in an investment portfolio.
Okay.
And so it earned interest, and it earned,
Let me back it up a little, because I think we're like going like really, really fast. and relate it back to here. Because I try to look, I don't read like numbers, okay? I'll read something for you all day, but numbers, I'm terrible with numbers. Saving, even worse. So, but when you read a lot of the articles and stuff like that, it tells you about your credit score, and those things don't relate to the average Samaritan. No. What are the things that we can do here, institutions we can use here, that can help boost, or is it even possible? Does it even make sense? Should I save on a bank, or should I just save under my pillow?
Well, right now we have very low interest rates.
And what does that mean?
For savings.
On savings. So basically, you're not. You might.
You might as well put it in your mattress. Yeah. So meaning, like, you have it on a bank account, and it's not
$100 in the bank account
today.
You save it the whole year. At the end of the year, what you got?
$100 and 0.001 cents.
So people need to understand, because a lot of people still think I'm going to save in the bank like a good
and
girl and boy.
What people don't understand is that as time goes on, the value of your money is not the same.
So the value of $100 20 years ago is not the same value as $100.
Because we have all kind of inflation going on. So, you know, a dollar back then is not worth the same, because you can't buy the same things.
With a dollar today.
So what does the young Samaritan that can still save themselves from financial problems, what should they be doing? Should they be looking into investing?
Yes. Look, I don't want to bash savings, because that is how everybody here started, right? Everybody here opened up an investment portfolio with what? Savings that they had. So savings is not a bad thing. Discipline yourself, save every month. But don't leave that money sitting on a bank. If you're interested in investing in stocks, bonds, whatever it is, blockchain, that return that you're gonna get is more, and that is what Tony Robinson said about compound interest.
But I think we need to, I mean, that's a good question, because it's always like, okay, how do I start? How do I start? And then when you hear stories about someone saying, okay, yeah, I just easily took 40% of my salary and I put that aside, like that is so unattainable for so much people. Like,
and I understand that, and I was thinking the same thing until he said, like, you have to kind of be disciplined. But what this guy really programmed in his head was that I'm gonna pretend that I have to pay, 40% of my salary is tax. I cannot do anything. I cannot touch that.
What we're talking about, what do you do with it after? I think a lot of people just don't know what to do with it after, especially here on island.
I agree, because we're not taught in school about investing. We're not taught in school about different portfolio investing platforms and stuff like that.
A lot of what I kind of like my expectations of it, and I think luckily I have the people around me, and I think that's what really pushed me into investing and getting into stocks, is that we're thought like that's not what you're supposed to be doing right now, because you're unstable. You're not supposed to be saving and investing.
But now is the time, because you could take on risk. Some of us
young, you can actually take on those type of risks. So it's financial literacy. That's like educating yourself about finances is very important. But what about those, another risk factor, another something that we're not taught? Because, I come from a family, we're mostly worker bees. We work from the time you get out of school, you get that job, and you work until the end. Entrepreneurship is not something that we talk about, also under women. And I would like the two of you, so financially savvy, to also, or maybe three, I don't know.
Them.
Okay, to talk about, because women have this thing where we care for everybody.
Right.
So, is it even something that, like, they have, taking care of yourself financially? I hear Susie Orman. I try to listen to people who know about finances, even though I haven't really.
That's good, though.
Yeah, I try to pick up as much as I can. But she said the issue with women and men is not necessarily that men got it all together, because most of the time they don't, even though they think so. Exactly. But is that women tend to think they have to take care of everybody else before themselves, neglecting themselves.
Also too, because I've been reading about this as well, right? Women are just more inclined less inclined to take risk.
I was about
Yes.
to say, I was
And
like,
so-
biologically-
Can you
And so-
afford to take risk?
They can
They
afford it,
can.
but it's
It's a
just that
mindset.
we are just kind of more scared to take
Yeah,
that
it's a
risk,
mindset.
right? Whereas where a man would see an opportunity, we're like,
And
you know
jump
what,
at it.
I'm just gonna go for it.
Right.
We would be like, you know what? We would think 100 reasons why we shouldn't
do it,
right?
yeah.
Right? So I think we are more prone to.
What is that though? Is that why?
The book I read said it's
biology.
biological.
Yeah. I think you know what I think.
Yeah.
You know what I think. But I think some of that can
it's a little bit of
change.
society.
I think it's
Yes.
society
A little
too.
bit of
And the thing is, you can change your mindset because if you really like think about it, you sit back and you think about it.
It's like, why am I
Why
scared
am I
of
being
this?
scared?
Yeah.
I have let's say $1,000 sitting in a bank account. Why am I've had $1,000? No, I've had $1,000 sitting in my bank account for the past 3 years.
And now it's 1,001.
And now it's 1,001.
Not
But I
even.
know in my
Not
mind,
even.
I've worked through the math.
even.
I know in my mind that it could be 2,000.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
you
why are we
know?
scared? But I do feel like in St. Martin, we have a lot of entrepreneurial women. I mean, you have ladies that make, in the catering,
I almost felt
doing
like I
nails,
didn't
doing
see it.
hair.
I thought the entrepreneurship on the island was leaning more towards men.
In
And
what
that- but-
areas? What areas are you seeing the men?
I don't know. I felt maybe that's assumption that I made, but maybe it's around the workplace. I see a lot of women. I was like, okay, we're all the men. Maybe they have their own businesses.
But you've come from an entrepreneurial family because your mom is an entrepreneur.
Yes, but
So that's a prime example.
It is. But like what I viewed with my mom is like my mom and my father, they both work together, and I feel like that's maybe something that I'm seeing a lot in St. Martin because, for instance, like the couples that are starting maybe cooking or the catering stuff like that, it's usually a couple, right? I don't feel like it's a woman alone. I feel like it's usually
But still, it falls in the same category, though. Doesn't it fall in the same category as women being entrepreneurs?
I mean, maybe that is assumption I made, and I was like, okay,
But we see them working. But is it? Are they capitalizing on it? Do they have financial freedom? No. Are we enjoying the fruits of our labor? This is the question that I have. And
I think the problem is that we've been taught to aspire for a 9 to 5. We've been taught, society, our education system, and the thing is, like, even now for myself, when I think about it, like I work from 8 to 5. I think about it, I'm like, in my mind, I have so many ideas, but I don't have the time. So you are connecting your salary, your set salary to a time, 40 hours a week. That is not financial freedom. Yeah. Financial freedom is when you develop money is making money for you. And I think a lot of women do not understand that concept or are even scared, and I think fear plays a big role in why people do not go after, going out and starting a business for themselves. Yeah. And of course, do I blame people for being scared? If you have so many obligations, it is a risk attached.
And I feel like on the island also a lack of certain infrastructure in place. A lot of, for instance, I know capital friendly, getting your loans.
Let me not even start on that. With the banks
I feel like that is a huge hurdle here, and like once you get over that hurdle, I feel like that's already a big step.
But this takes a whole change in what we prioritize on the island, because it takes to reform our education system, to make our island more investor friendly, to make our island more even business friendly, because who at the end of the day, you're running your own company. Who has time to stand up at government for 5 hours to get one piece of paper?
And I would add to that, empowering women or men as well to step out there and create something for yourself as well. So I would add that there too.
All right, so when I really come to understand how much putting this whole working and worker meeting into perspective was when I went to go and try to get like a savings for the pension, see what that would look like. And you build up your little pension, you could save on the side, the different elements that determine what your pension would actually look like. Because if you just depend on your pension, your normal pension, I think you would how much of your salary is that actually, like 70, sometimes even less, and also depends on how much you have worked. So this is why it's so important, especially as women that take care of a lot of people, to make sure they have that financial security. So coming back to it again, we could just give the viewers like some of those tips that they can do.
Even like if you have to go for a mortgage, you need to pay these extra fees. You have to have enough of your own money to put up for notary and all of these costs. So I think saving is imperative. You should, that's where you should start. And then once you have that, you'll be able to make certain moves, you know?
I think another option that we overlooked is working together. Because if I have a savings and you have a savings and you have a savings and we all put our money together to invest in a property, real estate, generate some additional income, we overlook that. We don't collaborate on the island. So I think that that's where our mindset should be amongst young professionals.
Well, I mean, to add to that, and I think something that St. Martin people have picked up on is like finding how to capitalize on a skill that you may already have and how to invest in that skill. Like I know I see a lot of freelance photographers investing in their skills. They're buying equipment and they're creating content. So I think that's also a way in which your money eventually makes money for you. So that's also another tip.
So yeah, ladies, that was a great discussion and a lot to think about for our viewers as well. Chime in on the discussion, like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you think on Let Her Finish.